Well, I've got a project going on here. I've got the materials in hand to do rabbit fencing around this area that I call the central beds of the north kitchen garden here. These are my central beds because they're central. It's not that creative. But anyway, what my plan is I actually am going to plant fruit trees as the kind of post markers. I'm going to put in some other posts to support, because the fruit trees will be young this year. Put in some other posts to support the rabbit fencing, but eventually the concept is I'm wanting to create a living fence out of the fruit trees, and then have it kind of filled in between with kind of that chicken wire fencing that you would use to keep out critters. So I got about 10 fruit trees, bare root fruit trees from Costco. I lucked out in terms of timing today because I couldn't see them on whether they were there online or not. So my plan was to just go into Costco every weekend. I knew they came in sometime in the winter time usually. And my plan was to come into Costco every weekend and just run through and check out. And this was my first run of that. And sure enough, they had them there, so I got them. They're a great price. I mean, these Costco bare root fruit trees are $16 a bare root fruit tree. So I'm gonna bury to just about right there, right? I don't want to bury up the stem here. This is an Asian pear. I assume it's probably grafted in some way. That's usually the case. And the graft, I don't want to bury the graft. The graft could be somewhere in this area. I'm not super expert on this. I think an expert would be able to look at this and tell me where the graft is, probably just by looking at it. But in any case, yeah, I'm thinking I'll bury it to about right there. So that's actually, the hole doesn't actually need to be that deep, but what that does tell me though, is I need to put a stake with these trees, because, you know, this is doing something this height with only this much root in the ground, won't fly very long. Well, it will fly out of the hole, is what could very well happen. So I'm gonna put a bamboo stake in there with it. All right. Now, keep in mind that my experience is it takes probably at least 3 years for these trees to get to a point where they're ready to actually bear fruit. So, but you know, it'd be much more expensive to buy mature trees, but even for bare root trees, that is a wicked price. That's amazing. So yeah, I got those trees and now I'm ready to plant them. That's what I'm working on here, digging the holes. I'm gonna do a test hole to see with one tree to see how deep the hole needs to be on average, and then I'll do all my holes first, get the trees in, and then I will lay out the fencing against the trees essentially, and then I will put in some support posts for the fence so that the trees aren't literally what's holding it up, because again, the trees are too young for that right now. But yeah, I have kind of a vague vision of what this will look like in my head for this first year, and then as it becomes mature, and we'll see if my vision pans out the way I'm thinking. Well, I got a comment in the on one of the videos, hey, I should show what's happening with my overwintered peppers. They're not super exciting. I was thinking about like cleaning them up first and showing them to you, but then I figured, well, that might be cheating to not just show you what's really happening here. So I would say that they are surviving. I wouldn't say they're thriving. I feel like last year they were thriving more under the lights, so I don't know exactly what I'm doing differently this year compared to last year. But I've seen when others do it, they certainly do more in terms of providing better light than I have. There's good warmth in here, but I would say they're surviving. I mean, there's little green leaves on them, and they're just, you know, they're still alive. I have had some that have totally kind of killed off and died, and I don't know exactly what the difference is between the ones that survive and the ones that die, like what it is that causes that. And I'm also showing you here, besides peppers, I also have eggplants I'm doing the same thing with. So I have an eggplant pepper in this showing as well. An eggplant plant. Here are the seeds I'm planting in the basement nursery this week. Dahlia seeds, not the tubers, columbine, and peppers, all varieties.